The billionaire was a man known for his games. In a mansion where marble floors gleamed and crystal chandeliers dripped with light, he often tested those who worked for him, believing loyalty and character could only be revealed when least expected. This time, his target was not his employees but the small daughter of his black maid. The maid had been hired recently, quiet and humble with a child she carried to the estate because she had no one else to watch her. Many whispered that bringing a child into a billionaire's home was dangerous, but the maid had no choice. The girl, no more than 10 years old, often sat silently in a corner with old notebooks, scribbling while her mother polished marble or dusted grand staircases. The billionaire, amused by her presence, decided one evening to stage a test. He reclined in his velvet chair by the grand fireplace, feigning sleep. He left a wallet stacked with cash on the table beside him, and an open jewelry box glinting with diamonds nearby. He wanted to see what the child would do if left alone in temptation's reach. The room was silent, the ticking of the golden clock echoing louder than usual. The fire crackled, shadows danced, and the billionaire kept one eye barely open beneath his false slumber. His plan was simple: catch the girl reaching for what wasn't hers, prove her unworthy, and dismiss her mother without hesitation. But what happened next was nothing he could have predicted. And with that, the test began. The maid's daughter, unaware of the eyes watching her from beneath closed lids, entered the room quietly. She carried her worn little notebook pressed against her chest. The small steps were soft on the marble floor as she sat near the fireplace, close enough to feel its warmth but far enough not to disturb the sleeping figure in the chair. The wallet on the table glimmered with embossed leather. The diamonds sparkled under the chandelier like captured stars. Any ordinary child might have reached out, curious, entranced by the shine. But instead, the girl opened her notebook and placed it on her lap. She pulled out a broken pencil, worn nearly to its end. Carefully, she began sketching. Not toys, not cartoons, but complex lines and shapes, mathematical figures, designs of buildings and bridges that seemed far beyond her years. Her small hands moved with precision, her brow furrowed in focus. The billionaire peaked, his breath steady, his heart pausing in disbelief. This was no ordinary child. Instead of being tempted by wealth, she was creating something entirely new from her imagination. She did not even glance at the wallet or jewelry box. They were invisible to her. Hours seemed to pass in the stillness of the room. She would look at the flames, then return to her notebook, refining her designs, erasing and redrawing with careful intent. Her world was not gold or gems, it was ideas. The billionaire, who had expected greed, now found himself unsettled. He had staged a trap for a thief, but instead discovered a mind far more valuable than anything in his vaults. The game he thought he controlled had just taken an unexpected turn. The sketches grew bolder, filling the notebook with shapes and patterns that mirrored blueprints of engineers. The child whispered silently to herself, mouthing calculations and symbols only she understood. Her pencil scratched furiously, her mind lost in creation. What the billionaire saw left him breathless. A spiral-shaped tower rose on the page, supported by arches drawn with uncanny precision. Bridges connected levels in ways that resembled futuristic architecture. Though she had never studied engineering or design formally, the girl's imagination revealed a natural genius her untrained, yet undeniable. The billionaire's heart, long hardened by greed and arrogance, felt something unusual stir within. For years, he believed children of servants were destined to remain where their parents stood, invisible, forgotten, and bound to labor. Yet here was living proof that greatness could rise from the most unexpected soil. Still, he wrestled with pride. Could this child truly be more valuable than the wealth he flaunted? Was she capable of something extraordinary, or was it only childish scribbles his weary eyes misread? He leaned slightly forward, studying each page she turned. Then came the moment that froze him completely. She sketched a design for a machine, a device resembling a turbine, powered by wind and water, something simple yet powerful. Its design, though rough, carried innovation far beyond her age. She was not copying, she was inventing. The billionaire, pretending still to sleep, realized he was not the one testing her. She had unknowingly tested him, and for the first time, he felt the sting of being humbled by a child. The maid entered quietly, exhausted from hours of labor. She carried no complaints, only the weight of survival etched into her tired shoulders. Her eyes fell on her daughter, still bent over the notebook, lost in creation. A faint smile touched the mother's lips, though sorrow lingered behind it. She knew her child was brilliant, but brilliance without opportunity often withered unseen. The billionaire kept still, his mind racing. He realized that behind this child's brilliance was a mother's silent sacrifice. Every long shift, every meal skipped, every sleepless night had carved the path for this girl to dream, even with a broken pencil on scraps of paper. For years he had dismissed his staff as tools for his wealth, forgetting they carried lives, hopes, and talents of their own. Now he saw truth that money could not mask. Greatness was often born in the shadows of struggle. The maid gently touched her daughter's shoulder, signaling it was late. The girl nodded, closing her notebook with care, never once reaching for the wallet or jewels still untouched on the table. Together they walked away, leaving the billionaire in silence. He sat frozen, unable to rise. What he had witnessed had shifted something deep within him. The jewels no longer sparkled as they had before. The wallet of cash looked like nothing more than paper. For the first time, wealth felt small compared to what he had just seen. That night, the billionaire did not sleep. He stared at the ceiling of his grand chamber, replaying the images of the child's notebook in his mind. Each drawing haunted him. Each invention gnawed at his pride. He realized his so-called test had revealed a mirror he was not prepared to face. He had spent his life building empires of glass and steel. Yet here was a little girl who, with nothing but scraps, could imagine futures far brighter than his billions. Had ever bought. Her refusal to even notice his temptations cut him deeper than any act of defiance. She had shown integrity, focus, and genius qualities no money could purchase. By dawn, the billionaire made a choice. He summoned his lawyers, his advisors, and his estate managers. He ordered scholarships, trusts, and protections to be created. In the child's name, he did not announce it to the maid, nor boast of his generosity. For once his act of giving was not for praise but for redemption. The girl would be given every opportunity to learn, to create, to build. She would not be silenced by poverty. The mother would never again labor unseen. The billionaire, humbled, accepted that the greatest wealth he could claim was not locked in vaults, but in lifting the brilliance of those overlooked. And so, the test ended not in her trial but in his transformation. Years passed, and the child grew, with access to books, mentors, and the best schools. Her sketches transformed into blueprints, her blueprints into reality. She built towers that touched skies, machines that powered villages, and ideas that reshaped the future. Her mother, once a maid, watched with pride as the world finally saw the brilliance she had always known. The billionaire, old now and frail, remained in the shadows, never taking credit, never revealing how he had once doubted her. He lived long enough to see her name etched into history, her innovations celebrated across nations. But more than fame or fortune, it was the integrity of that little girl. The refusal to be tempted, the quiet strength to dream in the face of poverty, that defined her. The billionaire had set a trap, but in the end, it was he who was caught by truth, by justice, and by the realization that character outshines wealth. The mansion still stood, but its story had changed. No longer just a monument of greed, it became the place where a billionaire learned that power is not in money, but in recognizing the light hidden in those the world ignores. And so the test that began with arrogance ended with justice, not in punishment, but in revelation.